News presentation. Win News, Regional Australia's #1 news source.
Tonight, pure gold. Mark Zahra claims his first Melbourne Cup, riding French stallion Gold Trip to a famous victory. Plastic raincoats and umbrellas galore for the coldest Cup day in more than a century. A major security breach with a vandal launching a dawn attack on the famous racetrack.
Is Melbourne's 9 News with Peter Hitchener.
Good evening. French import Gold Trip has joined racing's elite, taking out today's Melbourne Cup in front of nearly 74,000 racegoers at a chilly Flemington. Trained by Kieran Maher and David Eustace, Gold Trip was ridden by Mark Zahra, the win providing the jockey with some long-awaited redemption. Tony Jones leads our coverage.
On a day when the weather was threatening to get the better of everyone, there was simply none better than Gold Trip. A picture in the parade yard, he looked even better on racing's greatest stage. But first, there was that gruelling 3,200 metres to contend with.
Gates are back and they're racing.
As they headed for home, the field fanned out, and what followed was a show of guts and then glory.
250 metres to go. Emissary running on. Gold Trip, 150 metres to go. Wondering about getting tired. Emissary has tried very, very hard, but Gold Trip is brave. 100 to go. A length and a half. Emissary. Gold Trip is going to win the Lexus Melbourne Cup. Gold Trip wins it.
Second in the Caulfield Cup, a gallant tilt at the Cox Plate. There would be no denying Gold Trip and jockey Mark Zahra in this classic.
Try put this feeling into words.
Oh, I can't. I just feel like crying. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. What a day.
Another training triumph for Team Kieran Maher and David Eustace. A Melbourne Cup. It doesn't get any better.
Yeah, obviously a bit overcome, but yeah, it's just obviously a dream that we all want to achieve.
Are you actually shaking inside?
Yeah, of course. You know, it's a pinnacle for our sport to do it with Kieran. I'm obviously so grateful to be training with him.
Having soaked up the adulation of the crowd on the trek back into the mounting yard, the enormity of the win was just sinking in for Mark Zahra and wife Elise. Horse and jockey no longer racing's bridesmaids.
What a moment for the family.
7-second group ones. We're not doing seconds anymore, he said this week. No more seconds.
But even in his moment of glory, Zahra couldn't help but reflect on the pain of last spring. He copped a 3-month ban for a COVID breach, part of that now infamous Airbnb party in Mornington.
12 months ago, I was really, I felt terrible, and I was probably drinking my way out of it, and Elise was saying, don't drink too much, and I was saying, well, what else do you want me to do? My horse just won the Melbourne Cup. Maybe I could have ridden it, but obviously it hasn't slipped my mind. I think about it all the time that I could have ridden her, and for today to come today, and I've got good mates in the horse, and for Elise to be here, and geez, unbelievable.
But a full stop can now be put on that chapter of his life. Mark Zahra is now a Melbourne Cup winner. So too, trainer Kieran Maher.
Got a lot of great friends and family here, and great group of owners. Fantastic result, and we'll have a good party this evening.
After such a heavy spring workload, the French import has earned a spell. And on the orders of his trainer, the French champagne will flow freely tonight.
And Tony Jones joins us live now from Flemington. Tony, it was a stunning victory for Gold Trip and Mark Zahra in particular.
Well, that's right, Pete. You heard Mark Zahra talk about, the agonising pain that he was going through from a physical or a mental sense 12 months ago because of his decision, which got him in all sorts of trouble to attend that Airbnb party at Mornington. So, look, by his own admission, he was drinking too much. His wife pulled him into line, and 12 months down the track, literally, he's a Melbourne Cup champion. The horse itself, really, one win in 15 starts wasn't great heading into a Melbourne Cup, but his form was remarkably, despite the fact that he hadn't raced over 2,400 metres prior to today. So that all makes for a lot of reason to be celebrating tonight, and I dare say they'll be doing just that. We'll cross there later in the bulletin. The weather, well, far from ideal, unlike the horse itself, but punters adding ponchos and umbrellas to their fascinators, their frocks and their suits. But of course it has been 3 years since the Melbourne Cup was staged without a crowd cap, so not even an icy blast could stop thousands from living it up trackside. Maggie Rayworth joined them.
Flemington Racecourse in all its glory. The Melbourne Cup was back. Racegoers braving the freezing conditions, the coldest cup since 1913.
It's been in a suitcase for 2 weeks, but it's out now.
At times, rain and hail hammered down on punters. Umbrellas and ponchos, a must-have accessory. Despite the weather, stars still turned out for the affair.
We're not too cold yet. We've got layers, we've got jackets. It won't stop the wonderful festivities and the colour of everyone getting dressed up.
Swimming sensation Ariane Titmus and Cody Simpson entered the birdcage.
I just love horses, so I'm excited to watch the racing and it's fun to dress up.
I'm really excited to be here. It's an honour to be asked, especially to perform the national anthem.
Style stakes were high for fashions on the field. The catwalk was all about colour and handmade creations.
I went for a classic baby blue. I got this dress online and my grandma actually added the sleeves and the bow.
I created this look. I love to sew, so I created the pattern myself.
This grandmother choosing the track to celebrate her 95th lap around the sun.
We're from Adelaide and I won the cup. And here I am.
We knew it would be a wet affair, but after 3 years, a bit of rain did nothing to spoil the party. In fact, it even made it better.
Placing bets, hoping to back a winner.
Who am I going to back in the Melbourne Cup? Oh, I don't know yet. Haven't decided.
Punters celebrated the wins. For this race goer, it was all about the shoes or shoe.
Coherent, that's all we have.
Temperatures low but spirits high, proving our love for racing is stronger than ever. Maggie Rayworth, 9 News.
I'm pleased to report Maggie survived the day. But of course, amid all the colour and everything else, there is a bit of a downside to the Cup. And today's downside is courtesy of a vandal who tried to derail events at Flemington, bursting onto the track at dawn to pump several litres of black sludge into the turf. Now, the protester says it was an act of defiance against the Victoria Racing Club, reviving the debate around the wall which saved the track from the recent floods. Elizabeth Moss has more.
A black mark on Australian racing's biggest day. Armed with a hose, a protester pumps 1,000 litres of what he calls oily sludge onto the track at the 1,500 metre mark. While an associate records the attack, police are investigating the 6 a.m. security breach, later towing away this SUV pump and trailer from the track.
We were like, wow, what's happening? Like, why they would have done something like that here at this beautiful event? Unbelievable.
I think it's bad that people are destroying something that brings thousands of dollars into Australian government every single year.
The activist and self-confessed problem gambler told 9 News this is about the Victorian Racing Club and the toxic industry of which they are leaders, choosing to protect their racecourse against the impacts of climate change at the expense of people's homes and livelihoods. The controversial flood wall that saved Flemington Racecourse last month couldn't keep the vandal out. He called the structure an act of corporate negligence, adding even if they clean this sludge from their racetrack today, I hope they can pay proper dues to the flood victims who'll be cleaning their homes for months to come. The Victorian Racing Club today spruiked its $500,000 donation to flood relief.
People are very Australian when these things happen. They contribute and we can use the Melbourne Cup platform to really drive that contribution.
But this protester believes that amount is a slap in the face. The vandalism had no impact on the day's events. VRC staff carried out remedial work this morning before Racing Victoria stewards deemed the track safe. Elizabeth Moss, 9 News.
Well, outside the racecourse here, it's a bit of a rush hour as those 74,000 punters start heading home. Mimi Becker is over on Ballarat Road. Mimi, how did the crowds behave today and what's the traffic looking like?
TJ, police say the crowd behaviour was overwhelmingly good, but they did have to arrest 6 males after a brawl broke out in the Hills stand. They only had to arrest 1 woman out of the 73,000 for being drunk, and they did take 3 protesters into custody after they blocked the entrance to Flemington. That entrance is also the exit, and there are some traffic delays there as taxis and Ubers line up to collect people, so people are being warned of delays there. Here on Ballarat Ballarat Road, things are moving a bit more freely, but the Flemington train line did see some delays earlier this afternoon after some signalling issues there. So a few headaches around, but nothing like the headaches people will be feeling tomorrow. TJ?
Exactly. Not to mention the pain in the wallet. All right, good on you. Thanks very much for that. That's our coverage for the moment. Of course, Pete, we'll be back a little later on in sport with more on what has been a terrific Melbourne Cup day. Terrific in the racing sense, not so much the weather.
Thank you so much. Great work, TJ. And we'll be back to you a bit later on.